Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing some more 7x7 example solves with the Hoya method. I'm just going to be doing cross edges in this video and I'm only going to be solving on white. Okay, so straight away on this scramble I can see a lot of green pieces. I can see this block here, I can see this piece, and I can see this piece. So I'm definitely going to want to solve this wing first, this outer wing. And before I do that, I'm going to notice that these three pieces here, all of the inner pieces, are in the same orientation in the U layer, so I can pair them up really easily, so I'm definitely going to do that. And so to avoid putting this piece in a front slot, I'm going to do a U move first, then I'm going to solve this piece, then I'm going to pair these two pieces up with this piece by doing this. And while I'm doing that, I can see this piece here. So I know a nice way to solve this piece, which is now effectively just a really big midge, and these two wings. So from this angle, I would do something like this to make this block and to put these opposite each other in the U layer. And then I can solve all of these pieces together like that and do an F move. In fact, what I'd be really tempted to do in this scenario instead of an F prime is something like L2 and then a B to put that in a back slot and to eliminate one of my biggest blind spots, which is really, really important, especially on bigger cubes like 7x7. So next up, I actually saw that has moved these three pieces from a back slot into the U layer, and we have another piece here. So there's definitely going to be stuff we can do with that. Our other piece is down here, because again, this piece and these three at the back are all in the same orientation. I might as well pair them up in the U layer together. And I can see that we've got both outer wings and one of the inner wings solved. So we are going to need to use a few slice moves to solve the other two pieces, but you know, that's not that bad. When it's going to be as efficient as this. So we can put this in the back, we can hide it with an M slice like that, move this back over and join them up together like that. And then now for this piece, we could do a similar thing. We could do it in a few different ways. We could either make this misoriented or oriented, it doesn't actually matter, but we do have to make sure that whichever one of those we do, we get it in the right position relative to these pieces so that it's going to be easy. For example, if this is going to be misoriented, so if we were to just do an F2, we don't actually want to have it opposite these pieces, because then if we solve this, this piece is going to get unsolved. We want to have it either to the left or to the right, so that we can just hide it and then solve those pieces like that. Alternatively, if we want it to be oriented, then it does have to be opposite these two pieces. So instead of just doing F prime R like that, we would do a U prime move first, put it opposite, so that now, as you can see, it's just one slice away like that, and we can move it to the side and that sort of stuff. So I'm not a massive fan of the F2 setup because it's a bit awkward, you need a regrip. So I'll probably go and make this piece oriented, a bit like I did before. So I'm going to move this to this side and then orient the piece like that and put it opposite to these. And I know green's in the back, and this is important, so I know red has to go on the right. So I'm going to slice that there and then bring the slice down, and I've paired this piece, and then straight away I'm going to insert it into the bottom right just like that. And so the next thing I can see a few blue pieces here. These are both the outer wings, so they're not ideal to work with, and then we've got these two pieces here as well. I think I'm going to go with blue first, just because I can see that this piece needs to go here, and you know, making sure that we can solve a block of these two pieces together, that's quite nice to do. So I'm just going to insert this like that, and then I can see we've got this piece and this piece, and these are quite nice to insert one at a time, because we can just move it to the U layer and it's a 3 mover away, and then we can move this to the U layer and it's a 3 mover away, and they're not going to get disturbed. But what we want to do first is solve the midge, because otherwise we're going to have to use slice moves, and that's not as good. And the midge is back here, and this is a 5 mover, so we can do an R2 to set up to here, insert it like that, and then undo the R2. And like I said, this hasn't affected these two pieces, so we can just do an L prime and then insert this in 3 moves, and an L prime and insert that in 3 moves. And so now we've got our last cross edge, which is orange, and straight away I can see these two pieces, which were here, have been moved to down here, and there's this piece that's stuck in this slot as well. And we have the other two pieces here and here. So what I'm going to do first, I can see that this piece is the right hand inner wing, so I don't want to solve it first with this piece, because that's going to create, again, a gap, and we're going to need a lot of slice moves to solve the remaining pieces. So I'm going to want to solve this piece relative to this first. And that is also going to kick out this midge, and that's actually going to be really useful when we come to solving this piece and this piece together. Because then, as you can see, this piece is going to stay undisturbed, it's going to stay misoriented, and this piece is going to end up oriented in this slot. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to do a D to bring this to the front, then we're going to insert this piece, and I'm going to do it like this, from this angle, with a wide move like that. And now we have these two pieces opposite each other. So as you can see, I can set both of these two pieces up really nicely to the 3R wide U2 3R wide prime trigger. And so how I'm going to solve them is I'm going to bring this to the U layer, and then I'm going to put this opposite it, like that, and set up the midge to be in the front. I don't need to fix this yet because this isn't going to get disturbed. And, you know, it's nicer to do just the L move. If you're going to do L and R moves to set up both cases, it's nice to do the L move, for example, at the very start and the very end, because that makes executing it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and insert those two pieces and then fix this. And our last piece is back here. It's not moved at all. And so I know I can just do a 5-move trick to insert this. I can do R wide 2, U, R, U prime, R wide 2. Okay, so up next we have this, and there are a few things again I see straight off the bat. I can see these two orange pieces, but again, although they're solved relative to each other, there's this gap in between them that we're going to need to use some slice moves to solve them. So I'm not going to go for those straight away because I think there's going to be something better that we can get. And there is. We've got this green block here, and we have another piece here and another piece here, and the other piece is in the back. I don't know if I would have spotted this straight away, but I would certainly go in and solve this piece with just one move like that. And then if I had seen this, then again, there's a really nice way to set them up. Ideally, we want to solve the two inner pieces together because that's going to be really nice and efficient. And in this case, with both pieces misoriented, if we bring the midge to the front and then bring this piece to the U layer, they're now set up relative to each other in a really nice way. So we can do a U2, put them in the back, and this is just a 5x5 last cross edge case that we can join them together like that to make a block, and then just insert with the same wide moves. And that's really, really nice to execute. It's really fast. And it also leaves this piece here in the U layer. It's just a really obvious 4-mover to insert there, and that's really nice as well. So now next, before I do a D move, I can see that we've got these two orange pieces here. And so what I want to do before I do the D move is I want to set them up to not be misoriented. I wanted them to be oriented, obviously. And so I know if I put them here, I'm going to have to do an F move. And that's going to do two other things. It's going to orient the midge, which is nice, and it's going to misorient this wing, which is also actually quite nice. So if I do that, then the D move, and then the F there, we've got this piece and this piece. And in solving those two, I am going to break this up, but I know that this wing is going to end up misoriented in the U layer, and that's generally going to be quite nice wherever the other wing is. So I'm going to put this opposite this piece, just like that. So now we're set up for, in this case, it's a 4L wide prime, U2, 4L wide. I can see that's made this block, and that's really nice. And because this is an inner block, I know it's going to get preserved because we just have the two outer wings to insert. I can't see the other one straight away, so I'm probably just going to insert this, which I know is already here, just like that. I can also see that's made this block, so we're going to get some quite nice cases. And I'm not seeing the other piece straight away. So what I'd be really tempted to do, because it's probably going to be in a back slot or like the D layer, what I think I will do, which I don't often do, but in this case I think it's definitely worth it, I'm going to solve these two blocks relative to the cross edges and relative to each other. And so what that does is it's going to disturb whatever's in these back slots. It's going to give me more vision to see what's there. And also, because because these are blocks that specifically edges solved relative to each other, we're actually still going to get some nice cases off the back of this. We're not going to get many cases at all where you need to insert with slice moves and things like that. So I can see we've got green here, we've got blue here, so I need to do a D2, and then I'm going to solve those two relative to each other just like that. And what I did notice during that, we've got this red edge that's stuck in this blue slot. So I'm definitely going to do blue first so that I don't have to take this piece out, do a D move to insert it, and that's not super efficient. I'm going to do blue first so that this piece will come out into the top layer, and then I'll get hopefully a nicer case there. And in doing that, I saw we've got this orange edge down here. So just quickly, I'm going to do a D2 and solve it, and then move on to blue, like I said. So we've got this piece here in the back. We've got this piece as well. And then looking around, I can see this last piece back here. And so a case like this, if we think about a last cross edge case, we're looking at this. It's a block really, but we're just counting it as an inner wing here. We've got this wing here, and we've got the midge in the back. It's not an amazing case. So what I'd be tempted to do from here before doing that U move is I could see that I could bring this up to the U layer opposite it, just like that, because that saves me having to do any B moves, which I might otherwise have done, to pair those two pieces. And now I've got this case, which isn't, the shortest case, but it's really, really easy to execute. It's pretty safe. So on 7x7, that's probably something I would choose to do. And so for this case, I also know that it's going to keep this wing in a nice position wherever it ends up. So the solution for these two pieces that I would do goes like this. Now I set up to same idea as before. The L move trigger, just like that. And then this piece has actually ended up back exactly where it is. So I can just insert it straight away in 3 moves like that. So moving on to our last edge, there are a couple of different ways I could do this. I could solve this wing relative to this block, and then we create like a giant midge, and then we've just got, our 2 outer wings to deal with, which is going to be pretty nice in general. Or I could try and make this into a block with the outer wing that it goes next to and solve those 2 pieces together. And I can see that we've got this piece here, which is going to be the one that goes next to it. And I can't see an amazing way to solve these 2 relative to each other in not that many moves. And these 2 wings actually are already in not a bad position relative to each other. So I'm just going to go ahead and solve this straight away. And what I can see is that this wing is going to end up in a front slot if I do it from this angle. Whereas if I did a U move here, then both of them would end up in the back. So do I want to preserve these 2 pieces relative to each other? Well, I'm not sure I do, because we've got from this angle, you would have to insert this piece with a slice move to misorient this and then insert it there, which is, it's fine. But with this piece ending up here in a slot and this piece in the U layer, we can set up actually to a slightly nicer case, in my opinion. So I'm actually not going to preserve these 2 relative to each other. I'm going to let this piece end up in this slot. I'm going to solve this in the standard way, like that. And notice there that I didn't insert this with a slice move, because firstly, slice moves are a bit awkward, and also it leaves just this one piece on its own. Whereas this case, it's actually nicer to solve these pieces together with that. Is more efficient, and it doesn't use any slice moves either. So what I can do from this angle, I can notice that we've got this oriented wing and this misoriented wing. We can set them up opposite each other, and that means we're going to have a 4 mover. And so straight away I can go ahead, and I'm actually going to regrip for this because I know we're going to need to do an F2. So I'm going to put my thumb on the bottom, put these in the U layer opposite each other, oriented one in the front, and then I can go straight into the F2 and then finish the solution just like that. Okay, I'll do one more. And again, straight away, I can see we've got a nice block here to work with on green. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the other inner wing to solve and make a midge out of these. And I can see it's here. And so again, there are nice ways to do this. And one thing to think about when you're doing this is you don't necessarily want to solve these pieces directly into DF. You can if that's the most efficient or the easiest way to do it. But a lot of the time, if you can keep these pieces in the U layer, you're actually going to end up with even nicer cases than just inserting each wing on either side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this to the U layer because I can see we've got our other piece here. So I want to set these up opposite on the other side, just like that. And then again, there are a couple of ways we can pair them up. I can either do this and pair them up like that, which leaves them misoriented, or I could do it this way and pair them up, which leaves them oriented. And that's what I'd rather do, because dealing with an oriented midge is, as I've said time and again, is a lot nicer on average. So I'm going to look for the other pieces. I can see them here and here. And so I'm definitely going to want to solve this one first because it's in the more awkward position. So if I do an F there, now we've got this big block here and this is misoriented and the block is oriented. So I want to set them up opposite in the U layer like that, so that I can just insert them in 3 moves, just like that. Now, there's a few different things I could go for here. There's a couple of different options. I think what I'll probably do is go for red, because I can see these 2 pieces. This one's 1 move away, and then this will be a nice 4 mover insertion, and they're both going to be next to each other, and that's going to help quite a lot. So I'm going to solve them like that. I'm seeing this piece, and I know this piece is here as well. So I'm going to insert them just like that. That's flipped this piece, which is really nice. So I can, again, in a similar way to what we did before, I'm going to look for the red midge first. I'm going to ignore this piece because it's just going to be really nice to insert when we're done. I'm going to look for the midge that will go opposite this, and I'm going to make sure it's oriented over here opposite. And it's here in the back. So again, I can set them up. And again, I want to make sure that this midge comes to the front, not the back, because if I did this, then I'd have to do an extra U2 for no reason, when instead I can just bring this straight to the front like that. And now we're just 3 moves away to set up like that. This piece I know hasn't moved at all, so I can just do 1 move to set it up to here and insert it in 3 moves. Okay, so next I'm probably going to do blue, just because I can see most of the pieces. I can see these 2 and I can see these 2. And these 2 are in different orientations, which is not ideal, so I don't want to solve them together. Again, this is a case where you definitely want to solve the midge and the 2 inner wings first. And I can already see that these 2 are opposite each other and in different orientations. So they're going to be a nice 4 mover, so I'm going to solve the midge first. So I'm going to put red on the sides and solve this like that. And now I've just got these 2 pieces, which I can solve in 4 moves. I can see both of these pieces now. This one I know is not going to get affected at all. This one it's not going to change orientation, but it's going to end up down here. And that actually is still not a bad case, because once I've got these 2 solved down here, this piece down here, and this in the back, this is going to set up to exactly actually the same case again, just with the outer wings. So that's going to be really nice, and this is definitely the right order to do things in. So I'm going to solve these 2 pieces with F2, 4R wide, U2, 4R wide prime, just like that. And then, as I said, we have our piece in this slot, and we have this in this slot. And there's a couple of ways I could do this. The 5x5 last cross edge case, the way that I've set it up in my doc, it shows all of the cases with, if there's one piece in the U layer, then it has it in UF. So I could do a U2 to set up to this, but then I need to do another U2 when I'm setting up to that case. So I'm actually not going to do it quite the same way, because I'm getting it from this angle. I can just do 1 move to put these 2 opposite each other. And then I can just do a U prime and then an F and then another U prime. And so I've saved 2 U2s there. So that's quite nice to do. And then we just have this case is actually the mirror of the one before. So we can do it just like that. And we're on to our last edge. And what I can see straight away, I can see this piece and this piece and this piece. And because I can see that this is stuck in a back slot, even though it's misoriented, which, you know, is certainly less bad than if it was oriented, I still don't want it to be in a back slot at all. And I can see there's nothing here. There are no cross pieces here. So I'm going to solve this straight away with an L, so that I know that this back slot is empty, so I don't have to look there at all. And this piece is in the U layer, which is always a good thing. So then we've got this. I don't want to solve either of these 2 straight away, because I want to solve this one next if I can, or, you know, this and that piece together, so that I don't have to do as many slice moves. And the other piece actually is here. So what I'm going to do, and this is quite interesting, I don't know if I'd see this in a solve, but this is a 5 mover. So when you would solve this piece, you would do like an R2 to set up to here, insert it in 3 moves, and then undo the R2. And something that I know from just out of habit of doing this, obviously this slot is going to end up at the back. And when I do those 3 moves to insert this, whatever's in the top and the front here is going to end up in this slot before I do the R2. So this piece actually is going to travel to here, and then when I do the R2, it's going to go into a back slot. And I don't want it to be in a back slot. I want nothing to be in a back slot. So what I'm going to do, I can see we've got this piece, and this piece all in the U layer. So therefore this slot at the back, there's nothing there. So if I saw this, and you know, I hope I would do a U2 first, because that's going to put this empty slot here, which once I solve this piece is going to travel to the back. And so then all of my remaining pieces are in the U layer, and that's going to be really nice. So we're going to do the 5 mover, just like that. And as you can see, We've got nothing in the back slots. We've got all our pieces here, just like that. And there's, again, a couple of different ways you could do this. You could just solve the midge and then try and solve the last two wings together, or you could solve the midge and the inner wing together and then the outer wing by itself. And there's a couple of reasons why I want to do the latter approach here. Because if I insert this, then I've got two wings that need to go in the same block, and that's not generally the easiest way to solve your final two pieces if you can help it. And there's no super easy way to, pair them up straight away. It can be done, but it's not going to lead to a great case. And the reason why solving this piece and this piece together straight away is good is because we've got them already set up opposite each other to a nice case how we want it. We don't have to do any pre-moves to set up. We can just do this case straight away. And I know for a fact that it's not going to change the orientation of this piece whatsoever. This piece is going to stay misoriented and it's going to be a 3 or a 4 move or whatever we get. So I'm just going to go ahead and solve these two pieces straight away by doing this. Again, setting them up to that 4R wide, in this case U2 4R wide prime. And now we have this piece here and it's just a 3 mover to insert there. So there you go. I hope this helps. In this video, I didn't really show too many cases where I would, treat the inner wings and the midge like a 5x5 case, and then treat the outer wings and the block like a 5x5 case as well. That didn't come up too much, but that is definitely something that I would recommend looking for. But I think this video goes to show that it's not necessarily the best approach every single time, and that a lot of the time you're going to get lucky cases or blocks or just scenarios where it's nicer to do things in a slightly different way. So yeah, like I said, I hope this helps, and thanks a lot for watching.